I wanted to get to the Atlanta Falcons. And here's my dilemma. A, I love Michael Penix. I think he's going to be a very good quarterback in the NFL. B, I don't really like Kirk Cousins, never have, but I recognize that he is certainly a good regular season quarterback. And I like the idea of what Atlanta did more than I liked when they did it. But man, when you're passing up great defensive players and that's what your top need is, that just seemed awfully strange to me. How did it sit with Will Brinson?
Yeah, I mean, you can make the case both ways, I think, Adam, because if you want to make the case that the Falcons should have taken a defensive player, it's easy. It's like you just signed Kirk Cousins to a $180 million deal. $100 million of that is fully guaranteed.
Right.
He's going to be there for 2 years minimum. You're trying to win now with the quarterback that you have there. And Michael Penix, 8th overall, extremely rich cost for anybody, much less it's 8th overall pick. Like it's a really high pick, and it's a guy too. I think where conventional wisdom and sort of the thought process we have for where guys were going to be drafted didn't have Michael Penix. It was outside the box, right? Penix at 8 is like whoa,
yeah,
by itself in a vacuum. I think going into this draft, just like Bo Nix at 12 for the Broncos, who need a quarterback, is like whoa, okay. Even J.J. McCarthy, to me, at 11, for a team like the Vikings that need, or 10, teams like the Vikings that need a quarterback. So it's easy to make all those cases. I think you can make it the other way, too, though, and the Falcons have been doing a pretty good job pulling the PR out for this.
Right.
Where it's like, all right, like Cousins is a 36-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles injury. If he were to get hurt again, re-injure the Achilles, you have a backup option in Michael Penix, who's a quote-unquote college veteran, right? Who's been around so long. He's attempted 1,600 passes. The other case too is like Alex Smith on the Chiefs. They draft Patrick Mahomes with a top 10 pick. They didn't need to. They were winning a lot of games with Alex Smith. Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Jordan Love. It's like using these picks from these guys in ways that were, it was like unconventional. And at the time, it's like, dude, Jordan Love's the worst pick ever. And now it's like, oh, Jordan Love, pretty good pick.
Yeah.
And so, like, you can make that case. It's weird, though, because Cousins just signed with Atlanta. And it's not like he's been with the franchise for 5 years or whatever. But I can kind of come around the idea of the Penix thing mostly through the lens that we like to operate with, which is find your franchise quarterback no matter the cost. Like, it doesn't matter what it costs you as long as you find the guy. And if Penix is the guy, Cousins is probably there 2 years now, unless he plays really well. By the way, Rivers and Breeze is another good example of this too, where they, like in San Diego at the time, where they drafted Rivers with a top 10 pick because they weren't 100% convinced that Breeze could be the guy. Again, different situations, but that's sort of the logic, right? It's like if you get yourself a franchise quarterback at number 8 overall, it doesn't matter that you have Kirk Cousins there. Worst case scenario, he's going to play. Cousins plays great for 2 years and Penix sits.
Well, you're 100% right. It's funny. It also gives you not bargain basement, but I mean rookie. The rookie salary, backup quarterback money, so you're not spending X amount of millions of dollars on a backup quarterback. I like the move because I like Penix, right? But could Atlanta have traded back? As it turns out, maybe not, right? They certainly couldn't have traded back beyond 12 because the Raiders, all the rumors were that they loved Penix. But they could have traded back and maybe made that whole thing look better. But I'm not arguing. They've got skill position guys. I think Cousins will be good for them. But I also appreciate the drama that it all caused.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best part about it. The Panthers have ended up having a first round pick because they acquired one. But we think about it like that. We open it, like every time I come on here, we open up talking about the Panthers because freaking North Carolina, right? But it's sort of like this Penix Falcons thing was such a big deal. I mean, it really, if not for, I think you look at this two different ways. One, it's like, man, the Broncos and Bo Nix are like, thank you, Atlanta, for no one scrutinizing the fact that we took Bo Nix at 13.
Right.
Or 12, or whatever. Like, no, it was 12, sorry. No one's talking about that because they're too busy talking about the Penix thing, right? I mean, like, Bo Nix at 12, Sean Payton bragging that he, like, tricked Minnesota into trading up on spot. It's like, what the hell is going on here? And then, it comes out, like, Albert Breer's column yesterday, and it's like, and then they asked, and then Sean Payton asked Bo Nix what's in his backpack. He's like, tape for my ankle. And it was like, but it wasn't so much about what was in his backpack, but what wasn't in his backpack. All football stuff. It's like, I mean, like, what do you mean? Is that like a juicy fruit there? Like what do we think exactly was going to be in Bo Nix's backpack at a football workout? You know, oddly enough, Sean Payton is the guy who's walking around the owners' meetings one year with a contract. Cool.
What is happening to Will Brinson here? Where?
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Yes, we.
I walked away from my phone. I have my AirPods in.
He got really excited.
All of a sudden, Will was like it was possessed.
I was stomping up and down the hallway, like yelling about Sean Payton. Sean Payton one time at the owners' meeting had a contract in his briefcase, and he kept telling everybody about it. All the reporters, he's like, everybody's like, so are you worried about, your job security? Going 7-9, 3 straight years. 2017, I think. It's like going 7-9, 3 straight years. He's like, I have a contract in my briefcase right now. He's like, you may pull it out? You will see it? You want to see it? Like, no, nobody wants to see it. Like, what are you going to analyze his contract?
Yes, I think we should. All right, let me get to really quick back to the Panthers. You and I have talked about this offline. To me, you never want to draft for need, but man, it sort of looked like need and value matched, kind of mirrored up when they traded back to 46. There were both cornerbacks, or actually all four of them, right? Were there, or even at 39, maybe it was. They were 39 and traded to 52. And got a second-round pick from the Rams, which is a really good trade. Tremendous trade.
They didn't have a second-round pick next year. The Rams are probably going to be pretty good. I mean, they did have a good draft and, had a good season last year. But certainly, Matthew Stafford can get hurt, and they have a down year. But then they moved back up to – I think I even tweeted, like, good move overall at the time. Like, you only drop 7 spots and you get a second-round pick. But actually, if you do the math on what they gave up to move back up and grab a running – and to grab a running back of all things.
Right.
I'm just not. I mean, look, Jonathan Brooks, the best running back in the class. That's all well and good. They used this draft to. It was blatantly like, all right, we only got so many resources to like put stuff around Bryce, and we got to do it ASAP. And they did that, and credit to them. You hope that Brooks comes in is a bell cow. You hope that Xavier Legette is a number one out of the box. It's tough ask, but you never know. And I understand what they did. I think they would have been better off sitting back at 52, get as many picks as you can. Like you can't. This isn't an overnight fixer, right? I mean, like this is a 2-year deal at minimum, and so just grab as many picks as you can. That's why I hate trading up from 33 to 32. By the way, it's like arguably the worst trade you can possibly make in terms of anything. It's arguably the worst trade you can make in the draft.
Well,
you're moving up one spot, you lose all the leverage of the overnight possibilities of trading out of 33.
Right.
There were clearly teams who wanted to come up to 33, and you could have just said, "All right, it's the Bills are on the clock. They're at because the Bills traded back to the Chiefs. They're at 32. We're at 33. We're going to either get Xavier Legette or Keon Coleman, and we're not going to let you play chicken with us and give up draft picks when we're already short the most expensive from a draft capital perspective pick in the entire class."
All right, here's the thing. They clearly wanted Xavier Legette over Keon Coleman. The argument to move up is the cost certainty, and you and I have already talked about this, is the cost certainty of having the 5th-year option, and smart organizations will sign that if they determine that he is the guy, that after year 3, they'll sign the contract extension, so they'll incorporate year 4 and year 5 into that extension, so it lowers the cap. So there is an economic benefit to doing what they did. But I agree with you on the whole in that trading up is never a good thing, and they did it twice. Trading up for a running back is also never a good thing, and they did that because even though Jonathan Brooks is the best back in this class by most people's estimation, what are the odds that there won't be like 3 other really good running backs out of this class that were drafted in round 4, 5, 6? Because it happens all the time. And the last thing on the list of things that they needed, running back was like 6. Not that they didn't need one. They need so many things, but cornerback, wide receiver, cornerback, wide receiver again, offensive line, tight end, defensive tackle. These were all more glaring needs, and they left good players on the board. That was my ultimate problem with what they did. But if Brooks is the guy, then I totally get it. Also, I didn't get taking a lesser linebacker than Peyton Wilson, 20 spots before Peyton Wilson.
If you're gonna step in, Dave Tepper, if you're gonna step in and force feed a draft pick on your front office, do it with the guy who will sell like 10,000 jerseys to Wolfpack fans who are just like rabid right now.
Right.
Like a basket. Like you're fresh off a Final Four run and, like a really good close to the season for the football team. It's like,
right.
Man, if you draft Peyton Wilson, you will sell he's probably only going to play one. You're only going to get one contract out of him.
Yeah.
And you'll sell 10,000 jerseys the day of. Like I know people. Like, shout out, APW who are like, I'm ordering a Steelers Peyton Wilson jersey
right now.
Like state fans are like rooting for the Steelers now, even though Russell Wilson's on the Steelers. I mean, it's like,
right.
It was I know you shouldn't draft for PR, but Peyton Wilson's a really good player, and the combination of need, like, I guess you could argue like some like level of need. The public relations aspect of it, like make the Panthers popular again, right?
Wait a second.
Make Panthers MPPA. Yeah, they're going to go to MPPA. Big red hat, big teal hat.
So
MPPA.
Here's because you mentioned you're only going to get one contract out of him. I talked about this yesterday. I mean, isn't that describing 75% of NFL players? You're only going to get one contract out of them. Few players get the second contract with that team. So few. I don't know.
If you're giving a running back a second contract, you're probably doing something wrong in the over the long haul. I mean, Christian McCaffrey may be like the one exception to that rule, and the Panthers gave him a contract, and the issue was they run him into the ground with Ron Rivera in 2019, and ultimately traded him, and it looks so stupid right now. Most running backs. I mean, look at the guys who just hit. And this is it's interesting how the wide receiver free agency market and the running back free agency market sort of went hand in hand with the draft. How it's like really bad draft class, and then you had Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, all these different guys on the market. I mean, it's because Tony Pollard, like nobody wants to give a bunch of running backs a bunch of like second contracts. It's just bad business.
It's terrible business. Isn't it interesting how there is a higher value on NFL or is it a higher value on NFL draft picks than there is on the player as opposed to like every other league. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's outrageous. I mean, NFL draft picks, particularly with the way that it was the 2011 CBA where it all changed with the draft slots. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like the costs could, and ironically, not to get into the weeds on the CBA, but the original idea was all this money is going to these draft picks because you negotiate the deal and it goes up every year, and it's bad business for it's really cutting out the middle class of NFL veterans who felt like they deserve some of that money and not these rookies who are just coming in unproven, plus like Jamarcus Russell. And the irony is that once that new salary structure got in place, teams are like, nah, we can save a ton of money by using these. It's like a cheaper wage scale.
There's no question about it. Real quick, Are we? How long until we're at 18 games in an NFL regular season? CBA says can't happen until after the CBA runs out.
Yeah, I mean, 2030 is when the CBA is up because the last one was 2020. Technically, the CBA said they couldn't go to 17, and the owners and Roger Goodell just did it and told the union to bleep off. I actually think 18 is a better answer than 17, but only because, and it shouldn't be that hard of a sell, honestly, because once you get to 18, like right now, you still only have one bye week to 17 games, which is just a disaster. When you go to 18, you build in a second bye week, and you also push back the season a week, which means the Super Bowl and President's Day, which means, like at least some portion of the country will get, the Super Bowl Sunday will be a literal, long weekend where you can, you don't have to worry about everybody limping into work on Monday. So I don't know. I think there are aspects of it that make sense from an 18-game schedule, but they'll probably, what are we, 2024 now?
Yeah,
I mean,
none of those, by the way, are good from a player standpoint.
Well, the second bye week is.
Nah. We're going to shorten. I promise the data over the long haul will show that careers get shorter when we play 18-game seasons.
Yeah, but I'm saying 17 games single bye versus 18 games double bye.
Oh, sure.
I think that's what I'm saying. I think that you're already once they went to 17. By the way, screw 17 games. It's such a pain in the butt.
16 games single bye is fine. Actually,
right, I'm saying 17 games is annoying because they're going to go to 17 and then eventually go to 18. So there's going to be this dumb period of stats where it's 5 years where teams went 11-6 or something stupid. Just make it even. It drives me nuts. Also,
even would be better.
Every seasonal record is going to be broken by 17-game guys and then broken again by 18-game guys.
18 games is better than 17, but they're both horrible for the players as opposed to just 16 games, and they should have just stuck an extra bye week there to lengthen the season anyway, and everybody would have been fine with it.
I'm not sure if you know how money
I know I do. I understand. The NFL has done this because it means more money to them, even though it doesn't mean more money really to players, and it shortens their careers.
They're playing a game on Christmas on a Wednesday.
Yep, exactly.
three games or 2 games on Christmas on a Wednesday. Yep. They don't care.
They don't. You're right. 100%. Will Brinson, you're the best, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, see you, bye.
You got it. Will Brinson, CBSSports.com, senior NFL writer.